Now, Nasim Ahmed is a political analyst at Middle East Monitor, and he joins us now live from London. First of all, Nasim, thank you so much for your time in our program. Now,
thank you. Good to be here.
Is this change in charter rather driven by a longing for peace and democracy on the part of Hamas, or is it about the changing politics, like a need to adapt to the current situation at hand? For example, is it wanting to build stronger ties with Egypt and be heard on the international stage rather than actually wanting peace?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, Hamas has wanted to change the charter for many years. This has been on the card for a long time, and Hamas realizes that charter really has been a kind of a distraction for Hamas and the Palestinians as a whole. Instead of focusing on the Israeli occupation, we are focusing on the 30-year-old charter. And I think this is a way of shifting the balance. And this reflects the evolution of Hamas's political thinking over the last 30 years. And unfortunately, some of the language and rhetoric that's in the charter is no longer how Hamas views the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. So I think the charter now is more in tune with the evolution of Hamas's thinking as it is now, not the infancy of its time, which was, during the first Intifada 30 years ago. There was language and there was rhetoric, which probably kept Hamas in the political wilderness. And Hamas realizes that its enemies use the charter, aspects of the charter, to keep Hamas in the political wilderness. And this is an attempt to actually say to not just the Palestinians, but also to the Arab community, the international community as a whole, look, we have a formula, we have a way of engaging with the world, engaging with the Palestinians, engaging with the Arab world to find a solution which is suitable for everyone. So this is a way to come out of the wilderness and to negotiate openly with supporters in the Arab world, with supporters in Latin America, with supporters in Europe, and not have to go through the back door and keep their relationship, behind a veil. This is a way to say, look, come and discuss with us openly without this fear of being accused of being an anti-Semite and this and that. So this is really an evolution in their thinking over the last 30 years and moving away from some of the infancy in their rhetoric from the time in which the first charter was initially drafted.
It can't have been an easy shift, though. I mean, especially given the fact that Hamas has recently chosen a hardliner as its new leader in Gaza, and also because it hasn't recognised Israel or renounced violence, so to speak. So this is an ideological shift that, sure, will pave the way for future generations within Hamas. But how likely are we actually to see a change in position?
Well, the bigger question is not the change in Hamas's position. The solution to peace is a change in Israel's position. Israel, let's not forget, for 30 years, it has been dealing with a so-called moderate Palestinian organization, a more secular Palestinian organization. And what we've had over the last, since Oslo, is entrenchment of the Israeli occupation. We've had more settlements. Palestinians are much further than they have ever been in finding a Palestinian state. So the problem of peace and resolution is not really in the courts of Hamas or the Palestinians as a whole. It's really in Israel's court. So whether this will change anything directly with the Israelis, I doubt it very much. But this is really an attempt to actually build bridges with the international community as a whole, with the Arabs and the Palestinians as a whole, and say, look, we have a charter which our enemies can no longer cite and say, look, this is anti-Semitic. The charter does not uses language which is anti-Semitic, and it frames a conflict in a religious way. And Hamas is saying, no, this is not religious conflict. This is a political conflict, and we are specifically focused on addressing the question of Palestinian resistance to Israeli occupation. So this is what the thinking is behind the charter.
Okay, well, it will be interesting to see how things change, but no doubt language is important and it's the first step. Thank you very much for that. Nasim Ahmed there from London for us.